You are never alone. You are never alone. Just reach into your heart and Allah is always there. You are never alone. You are never alone. Through sorrow and through grief, through happiness and peace, you are never alone.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to a new episode of Family Issues. In the name of Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful. All praises are due to Allah, the Lord of the universe. Peace, prayers and blessings of Allah are due upon Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his family, companions and those who follow him till the day of judgment. Ameen. Dear brothers and sisters, we welcome you to a new episode of your favorite program, Family Issues. The episode will continue with a topic that we started 2 weeks ago, and that is developing our kids' skills. We have discussed before the different types of intelligences that people have and how we can discover them and develop them within our children, and how can we improve their studying skills as well. We would like to hear your questions and comments about this issue, so please call us on 002 0238 555 248 or 249. Again, it's 002 0238 555 248 or 249, and our email is familyissues@huda.tv. That's one word for family issues at huda.tv. We'd also like to receive your questions and feedbacks on facebook.com/family issues. Again, facebook.com/family issues, and again, family issues is one word. We would like to welcome our special guest here, Mr. Ayman Shamroukh, educational trainer, a master's in international education in the American International College, USA. Thank you very much, Mr. Shamroukh, for being with us. Assalamu alaikum, jazakumullahu khairan. And you had started talking a couple of weeks ago about the different types of intelligences that that exist, that scientists talk about. Please recap for us, if you will, in a quick review, the main types of intelligence.
Thank you, Mr. Muhammad. And I've enjoyed being last time here with Mr. Malik, and pleased to meet you here. Last time we have discussed the first 5 intelligences. We have discussed the linguistic intelligence, and the mathematical intelligence, the bodily kinesthetic intelligence, the musical intelligence, and the visual spatial intelligence. Let me just give a hint about each one of them, just to remind our audience.
Please.
Okay. At first, the main question that parents ask about their kids, they usually ask, how smart are our kids? But I think the correct question should be asked like that. How are our kids smart? Which means that each kid is smart. He has a kind of intelligence. And last time we discussed that intelligence, it's not one entity. It's a lot or many types, the types that we are discussing now. So each one have all the 8 types of intelligence.
With a different degree.
Of course. One of them, or might be 2, might be dominant than others, but the others are still there. They can arise or go up according to the environment, according to conditions, according to career change. A lot of factors can control that.
Right. So the main characteristics, if you will, of the 5 you mentioned, especially that some of them I think are my favorites. So please talk about them.
Of course. The first one, the linguistic intelligence. The linguistic intelligence is the ability or intelligence of shaping words in sentences, in logical sentences. And people who have this intelligence as a dominant one, they are very intelligent and they are good speakers. They can listen also very skillfully. They can give speeches. They can reach their audience effectively. This is the linguistic intelligence. And we say that people who have that intelligence as a dominant one could be lawyers, they could be politicians, they could be interviewers or reporters. Yes. This is the linguistic intelligence.
Yes. And any special relationship between certain types of intelligences? I mean, if you have the linguistic, then you probably, if you're strong in the linguistic intelligence and score high grades, does that necessarily mean that, for instance, you're strong in mathematical intelligence as well? Any special correlation, positive correlation between certain types of intelligences? And negative correlations as well?
I have read a research. It said that there is a relation between the linguistic and the logical mathematical one, because they said that the mind, in logical mathematical, you know that the brain or the mind shapes things and put them in logical order. And to be a good speaker, you need to arrange your words logically to give a good meaning and reach your audience. That's why they say that there is a relation between logical mathematical intelligence and the linguistic one.
Right. Any difference between boys and girls as far as certain types of intelligence go?
There aren't many researches about that, but from our experience and observation, yes, I think girls they have that kind, the linguistic type, much more better than boys.
Okay.
Yes, that's why I gave that example last time. That's why we can now find the reason why women and girls spend a lot of time talking with the phones and talking together and so on.
Okay.
Yes, because they
and do boys have? Are they stronger in mathematical intelligence?
Mathematical and bodily kinesthetic. They are in bodily kinesthetic. According to the physics of the male is different from the female muscles and so on. So this gives them the advantage to use their muscles and so on effectively.
Right. Two other types that you talked about in the last episode. We want to touch the musical intelligence.
Okay.
And also
the logical. Yes.
We talked about the linguistic, the mathematical, and the body.
Yes. Let's start with the musical.
Yes.
The musical intelligence, it's the intelligence that enables the person to catch patterns, tunes, rhythm, harmony between things and also in words. That's why they can sing in a good way. They feel the tune, even reciting Quran. For example, Sheikh Mashar Rashid, Sheikh Abdul Basit Abdul Samad, they have that type of intelligence. They feel the rhythm.
It seems it's linked to linguistic intelligence.
Yes, but also it is related to harmony and rhythm. They keep the rhythm. Okay, and even they interact with that in their body language. When they do like that, they feel the rhythm, the harmony. Yes.
Well, what about the fifth type? Before we
the fifth type is the bodily kinesthetic. The bodily kinesthetic, and they are this type is related to people who can control their muscles and control their parts of bodies effectively, like football players, like people who play gymnastics and so on, athletes. Those people have this type of intelligence highly.
Right. Now, before we move on, is there a certain type of intelligence that makes a person more religious? I'm sure some of our brothers and sisters watching us are thinking about this specific question. Any relationship, any correlation?
I haven't read researches about that, but I think that the intrapersonal, the one that we haven't explained yet, the intrapersonal intelligence, it is the type of intelligence that in which people or the person have that kind of peace with himself. he reflects on himself, on his morals, values. He knows perfectly his strengths and his weaknesses. So this kind of people, and when they reflect on themselves and their attitudes, they know what is right and what is wrong. So they always try to improve themselves through religion, through spiritual things, and so on. So I think this type could be attached to religion and religious issues more than others.
Right.
Yeah.
And especially that we would assume that those with high interpersonal skills would have more adaptation skills as well, and would be able to deal better with difficult situations, and to comfort themselves, and to be thankful to Allah even in the bad times, and to control their happiness from reaching a state of arrogance or a state of forgetting who was behind this. This, because ما أصابك من حسنة فمن الله وما أصابك من سيئة فمن نفسك.
Yes, exactly. Those people always ask questions about the universe, the creation. They always ask questions to know how this world was created and so on. And this leads them to our great Creator Allah.
Subhanallah. So that's the interpersonal intelligence. What about the intra?
That's the intra.
That's the intra.
That's the intra.
Okay. The inter is between people.
Yeah, what we call it the social intelligence.
Yes.
Interpersonal intelligence is that type of intelligence that enables the people who have that intelligence to have good relations with people. They understand people well. They understand their intentions, motivations, desires, and this enables them to reach people easily. When I know your intention and your desire and your motivation, so I can reach you effectively and in short time. That's why they build social relations easily and quickly, and makes them lovable, and they can even with that love they can lead. Yes.
And that's the again the interpersonal. Scientists now have discovered an eighth type of intelligence recently, and that's the naturalist.
Yeah, the naturalist. Yeah.
Howard
Gardner added that in 1998. And by the way, he added another one in 2003, the existential one. But until now, it hasn't been shaped correctly or in a clear form. So a lot of books and so on, they don't consider it now. They say that there are 8 instead of 9, and the last one is the naturalist. The naturalist is that type of intelligence that enables you to look around you in the environment and feel comfortable in the environment outdoors. Students or kids who have that type of intelligence, they like to work outdoor and play in playgrounds, in fields, in parks. They also feel patient and love to animals, plants. They like zoologists. Zoologists, they are specialized in animals and so on. They have that type of intelligence.
Well, I guess that type of intelligence could make a person more religious, I would assume, by discovering more and more about Allah's creation.
If we add this type, the naturalist, or if someone has the naturalist intelligence plus the interpersonal, I think this combination will lead to religion. Because when he looks and investigates and asks questions about the creatures around him, he will reach to that result that there is a creator behind all that, a great creator behind that.
Subhanallah.
Subhanallah.
So how do we know that this is the dominant type of our child? I mean, any specific methods that we should use? Is it just by observation? Simply, is it because my son has good numbers in math tests does that automatically mean that he has the mathematical intelligence? And if he has bad numbers in English language tests, for instance, does that mean that he doesn't have the linguistic? I mean, what are the easy methods to discover the strength of our children?
Okay, at first I have to differentiate between the type of intelligence that we have and how do we do in, for example, the activities, the everyday activities. For example, people who are bad in mathematics, it's not a condition that they don't have the mathematical intelligence, because there are many factors that control their love or hatred to that subject. Could be the teacher. He doesn't like the teacher, so he doesn't like the subject. But if he has another teacher that he loved, his intelligence will rise and become dominant.
Right.
Okay. So
so the grades, by themselves, are not enough to judge.
Yeah. There are three ways, actually.
But they are an indicator.
Yeah. There are inventories and questionnaires to investigate each one. The scientists have designed questionnaires and inventories to measure and figure out each type of these intelligences. So if after answering...
Could you brief us on some of them? That sounds very interesting.
Yes, of course.
And I guess it would be very useful to our viewers.
I have done that last Thursday with my students in my school, yes. And they found out their strengths and their... Yeah, it is found. And our audience can find that. I'll share it on my Facebook account so they can find this type of questionnaire. It's easy questionnaire, just asks you about specific points which reveals...
So give us examples, please.
For example, if he asks you in the questionnaire, do you like animals? For another example, can you figure out the reason behind things easily? So the first one is related to the naturalist. The second question is related to the logical mathematicals. Scientists have designed these questionnaires perfectly. So this is the first tool to figure out the types of intelligence, inventories and questionnaires. The second way is direct observation. If you are a parent or a teacher, you can observe your kid or your student and see what he likes to do. Is he interested much more in math or English or whatever, science? What does he like to do things with his hands? Does he, when he faces a problem in rehearsing and keeping by heart the spelling of a word, does he rhyme it? Okay, for example, the word square, he can't rehearse the spelling of square. He said like S-Q-U-A-R-E, S-Q-U-A-R-E. Then this one should have the musical intelligence, so you can build on that and help them to develop that and get the information in a thematic way. The third way is if you are a teacher, for example, so you can know that by parents reports. Also, parents can observe their kids at home, and they have to spend more time observing their kids and exposing them to a lot of activities and variety of activities that cover all types of intelligences. And they provide neutral environment to all activities. So kids can select the activity or do the activity that they feel really like, not the activity that their parents like. Yes. So by this way, we can figure out the dominant intelligences of our kid.
But it's hard for parents to hide their preferences, I think. I think children are smart enough, and they are much smarter than we think, that's for sure. And they know when their father or their mother is happy, and when they score which grades in which subject, then they get a lot of rewards and a lot of praise. But maybe they do well in other things, but they don't get it. So what's your advice to parents here? Because it is kind
yes,
of
of
hard.
course, it's a very important point, because in our parental attitude, we usually try to push kids toward things we like, not what they like, because we feel that they are our image. and we know better than them what is best for them, what is the best thing for them. But actually, you don't know. If you don't know his character, his personality, his dominant intelligence, so you don't know him. So please, for parents, don't push your kids to do things that you really like, because they might not like that. This is so simple.
Right.
Yeah.
Although the combination might yield, I would assume, great results, your child excelling in an area that you would like to see him excel at, and you keep encouraging him or her, and then that would be optimization or maximization on potential, wouldn't it?
You would be a lucky parent if your kid actually, without any pressure of you, if he likes the same things that you like, and he has the same dominant intelligences, and he likes doing the same activities that you like, you would be a lucky parent, so you will be in harmony with him, because you both like the same thing. But how can you figure out that whether your kid is doing this thing just to please you as a parent, or he does that because he likes it? We as parents, we should learn how to differentiate between that. And we should be aware not to push. Expose them to variety of activities that cover all types of intelligences and skills, and monitor them neutrally.
And you mentioned neutral environment before.
Yes.
I mean, so I would assume part of the neutral environment would be not showing your great care or your great interest for that at the expense of another.
Yes, and you have to know that your kid isn't you. He is a different, unique person.
But just how much of the types of intelligence are in the genes, and how much does a kid take from his father or from his mother when it comes to types of intelligences?
Researchers are working on that, but actually, yes, sometimes genes control how our brains is wired to our parts of bodies and so on. But the environment in which the kid lives in affects much more highly than genes. Because if your kid is born genetically with a dominant intelligence, and he doesn't find the environment, the suitable environment for this intelligence, naturally this intelligence will go down in him, and another one will rise up. So environment controls that. This is a very important point.
So once we make the observation, and once we use the scientific tests, and we discover that our kid is strong here and weak there, what do we do? Do we keep? Do we try to strengthen the weaker points, or do we even focus more on the point of strength, because that could lead to elevate the others?
Yes. This is a very good question, because if you know that the dominant intelligence of your kid, for example, it's the logical mathematical, it doesn't mean that you show or you expose him only to logical mathematical activities and so on, and forget about other intelligences. You can do something much more better. You can penetrate his mind and expose the other activities of other intelligences through mathematical way. For example, if you want him learn, for example, new vocabulary in English, so you can use the mathematical intelligence in giving him, this is number one, the word number one is so, word number two is so, word number three is so and so. So now you carry or build up on this intelligence and let him grasp the other activities that are related to other intelligences through the logical mathematical way. So the logical mathematical is just the gate. It's not everything. It's his gate to grasp and try to improve the other intelligences.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's clearly understood. So we understand that we shouldn't focus too much on a point of strength, because that could be at the expense of
Yes,
of other types.
we should employ that type of intelligence to help other types. But we, instead of thinking a lot about how to increase or improve the other types of intelligences, and I think that it's better to focus on the intelligence that is dominant to help others. For example, but this is the point. We should give him the way to other things through this one.
Right.
The dominant intelligence of him should be the starting point.
Right. So it's wrong logic if you say because he is strong here, I'm gonna leave this and
isolate him from others. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. You shouldn't say that because he is clever, or he has that. For example, the mathematical or logical mathematical intelligence, I should isolate or not expose him to other activities. No, this is not right. You can provide him the other activities in a mathematical way.
Right.
So these activities or this kind of knowledge will pass through the gate of mathematical intelligence.
And I would assume it would also be wrong if you neglect this point of strength and focus on the others, assuming that this point of strength will always be as strong, because you would be missing out on a chance to developing it, right?
Of course, especially because each one of us has all the types of intelligence. Each one of us has all of them. But in a varied way. One of them is, or one or two or three, they are dominant, and the others are less dominant. So all of us have all types of intelligence.
So the environment and the training and
yes,
are the things that develop.
And guess what? If you, for example, if you now take that questionnaire and you find out that your dominant intelligence now is, for example, verbal or linguistic one. And after that, you shifted the career and you had to work with numbers. You worked as an accountant or something like that. And you had to deal with number. Now, your mind is urged to work better and improve his mathematical, logical skills. If you take the questionnaire after 3 years, after giving up being an interviewer, for example, and being an accountant, you will find that, you might find that your dominant intelligence has changed. And to another one, to the logical mathematical. So it's not stable.
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Shamroukh, dear brothers and sisters, allow us to take a break here. When we come back, we'll be continuing to discuss how to discover the types of intelligences that our children possess and how to best develop them. Please stay with us. Assalamu alaikum.
Never alone, you are never alone.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala choose whom He wills subhanahu wa ta'ala for His mercy, for His messengership, for the revelation to be revealed. This is not for the human beings to make that decision. If a person would turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sincerely, truthfully, asking for forgiveness, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised to forgive. We have as Muslims a duty, and that is to recite the book of Allah, to ponder over the verses, the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to act according to the Quran. The mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala encompasses everything, but who would this mercy will be for? And the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was sent to all mankind. So the ummah, or the people of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, are all mankind since the time of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam till the day of judgment. Why waste our life without getting to know every verse in the Quran, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from us?
Dear brothers and sisters, welcome to a new edition of Ask Huda.
I have 2 questions.
Please go ahead. You can read it in Arabic, and you can also understand the meaning in your own language. The different tafsir and the interpretation of the meanings of the Quran are available in almost every language that exists on earth by the grace of Allah. The water of Zamzam is for whatever intention you drink it with. Salih from Egypt his father passed away, and he asked about how can he help him. Very good question.
Can we give a zakat to any of the dawah centers?
The ibadah or the act of worship is a part of the unity of worship. It has to be paid to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and in accordance with the guidance of His Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back. You're still watching Family Issues. We're talking about how to discover different intelligence types within our children and how to develop them. And we are gladly waiting for your calls on 002-0238-555-248 or 249, and also for your questions and feedbacks on facebook.com /family issues, and our email is familyissues@huda.tv. We're still in the company of Mr. Ayman Shamroukh, educational trainer, Masters in International Education, American International College, USA. Mr. Shamroukh, before the break, we were talking about how to apply this theory. We want to know how to apply this theory now at schools and at home. Is it possible to apply the theory of multiple intelligence types at schools and at home, and how do we do this?
Okay. This theory is already applicable now in many schools around the world. It's not just only this theory. There is something bigger than that behind this theory. It's the differentiation. Differentiation is how to reach to each kid. This is in school. How to reach each kid. How to deal with each kid as an individual. And to reach him, you must know his strength points and his weakness points. Then you will have to figure out his intelligences and his learning styles, his preferences. You have each teacher, I think he should have that kit of diagnosis for kids, so he can plan his lessons according to that. How come that you plan your lesson for kids you don't know their preferences, their learning styles, their intelligences? How do they grasp information from you, and how do they grasp information from the world around them? I think this is a very shifting point.
At which age would the theory be applicable?
At any age.
Any age?
Yes. Yes, because it is the main thing about this theory. It's a human communication. The teacher or the parent understands his kid or his student, and when this communication gets better, of course everything after that will get better. His development, his academic progress, everything is going to get better after that.
For sure.
It's playing. It is playing on the human communication, how to understand each other.
The learning process would definitely take a curve up.
And by the way, there are now schools in the USA. They are called MI schools. The whole school is designed and built on this theory. And now even in Egypt here, it's applicable. You can apply that easily.
So would you demonstrate to us how we can apply it at schools?
Of course. For example, I gave my students a problem and asked them to solve it. Because, by the way, Howard Gardner said that intelligence is how to solve problem and how to generate a problem to solve it. This is the main concern, or the main definition of intelligence according to Howard Gardner. I gave them a problem. How to let students in wheelchairs, and they are mentally okay and they are brilliant mentally, but just they are in wheelchairs. How can they fit in our school and go to our my class is in the 3rd floor. How can they fit in our class here? This is a problem. Are you with inclusive schools or segregated schools? segregated schools for those kids, schools that are
Understood.
built especially for them, and it has all facilities and so on, or should be inclusive and included in our school here to be among you and so on. Students start to think, and I give them a variety of activities to do to express their solutions. Some of them express them in building up and modeling the sitting plan inside classroom, because they say that if a student in wheelchair, he can't get through that door. So we need a door with sensors, electric door, for example, or an open door without a wooden one. And also the rows, we should leave space, suitable space for him to go through. Then he built it. If we can see the pictures, they built that model. Okay. Some others, they redesign our floor, and build ramps. They work as engineers. They build ramps. They build
We're
elevators.
seeing now.
I think the next pictures.
Yes.
Yeah, the next pictures.
These were the
yeah.
types of intelligences.
They will come up.
But which grade?
They are in year 7,
Year
which
7.
means that they are 12 years old. They start. Some of them, the visual students, they are visual spatial students. They redesign the floor to have ramps. To have this picture is for students who feel comfortable and have the bodily kinesthetic intelligence. They built up and redesigned the sitting plan in class to fit them in, and this is their idea how to solve the problem here, and censor doors and so on. The next picture will show the students who have visual spatial intelligence, who redesigned the floor. If we can look here, they build here sensor doors, they build ramps, and even they think in toilets. They think that toilets should be changed to fit the wheelchair students. So they should have special toilets for them.
Right.
Yes. And even the picture at the bottom there, one of them drew arrows because she thought that we should divide the corridor for the able-bodied students and the wheelchair students.
How beautiful.
Yes, they try to find solutions. Some of them found solutions kinesthetically. They use their hands to build models. Some others visually. They designed it in computers. The above one is the student designed it on computer. The one at the bottom, the student she drew it drew this picture by her hand. Another picture, some of them, the people who have intrapersonal and interpersonal, they sit together and they start. Yeah, this is another one. He built that. He thought that it could be a good class. Yes. The next picture.
Beautiful.
Next picture is for reports that students wrote. Yes. The intrapersonal, they sit with themselves and thought whether it is good to have segregated schools or inclusive schools.
And why?
And why?
And you ask
what
them to
are
write
the
reports
pros
on
and
that.
cons?
Yeah.
And after that, after they reflect with themselves, they sit in groups. Interpersonal. Interpersonal people help that because they are the leaders in these groups, and they start to think which point of view is better and so on. So now, it was just only one problem, and students showed their intelligences in their own ways.
And were they more democratic than most of the politicians?
Of course, because nothing is wrong here. Students who were with segregation, they are not wrong because they have their causes that it's too expensive to make any school well equipped for this kind of students, and so on. They have their causes. The other party, they said they should students who are in wheelchair, they should fit in with us just to socialize and feel that they are not different and so on. So each party here has his point of views, which they are right. Nothing is wrong.
So from their activities, you can draw conclusions that this boy has excels at this type of intelligence, and this girl is her dominant type of intelligence is,
of course, and
is X or Y.
even in assessment and evaluation, I give them the highest marks for the best type of the skills, because I give them 3 tasks to write a report whether you are with or against segregation. The second part of the task is to build a model. The third type is to draw the plan, the floor plan. And I evaluated them according to the strongest part of the task they have done. So now you evaluate students according to their strengths and help them to improve the weaknesses.
Right. At home now. So how do we do this as parents? I mean, you can invent for us while you're sitting here a model or some
I think
type
it's
of
at home. Parents should spend much more time observing their kids and helping them, exposing them to a variety of activities. Read for them so you can check their auditory skills and so on, and musical. Sing for them. Let them read books so you can figure out what about the verbal and the linguistic intelligence.
What if, and that is the case with most of children nowadays, what if they are stuck to their PlayStation games and computer games and stuff like that, and that is prevalent in today's world?
I think this is because our kids nowadays, they feel they are isolated from the adults. That's why they try to build up their own world. We adults might not know what are the games they play on PlayStations. They have even their terms that they use, that they took from the PlayStation game and so on. And we, as adults, we don't know this kind of language. They use letters and shortcuts and so on.
There's a cheating code, and
yes,
and you could have a 3 or 4 year old come and to you and tells you, please tell me where is the A, and then you ask him why. It's because I want to write a cheating code.
Yeah.
So no, I mean, how do we not let this get out of control, and how do we get them back to?
As I told you, we should spend much more time with our kids. We should give them that feeling that we notice you, we pay you attention, and we really want to help you to master your skills. This is the very important point here in this. We should give them that feeling that we feel you.
These games do enhance some skills, right?
Of course.
But they also kill others.
Of course, yeah. For example, the strategic games, they improve the logical mathematical, because you need to build strategy, how to conquer, how to build up here and so on, how to conquer other farms and so on. You know, the games are, so this improves this type of intelligence. But what about socialization? The kid spends a lot of time in front of computer, and he feels harmony with the machine more than feeling harmony with people.
But what if he's doing this with his brother or with friends?
Would
that be socialized?
Of course.
Socialization.
We can build on that. We can't prevent them from playing computer games and spending a lot of time. We can build on that. For example, as you said, we can give them the chance to play with his brother, so we can improve the relationship between brothers. We can ask him to use the computer in learning, for example, to prepare PowerPoint presentations for science, English. If he can't understand something at school, the teacher explained volcanoes, for example, and he can't understand what are volcanoes, because the teacher said it orally, and his type is, he is visual. His type of learning style is something. He's visual, so he needs to see something. Needs
visual
to see
and
image.
auditory.
Yes, so he can go to the internet and use the computer for useful things, to find a video on YouTube or to find a picture, and he will understand that. So we can utilize that instead of preventing.
Indeed.
Especially because this generation is so stubborn. Yeah.
Yes. And how do we protect them from from the computer as well, because as you said, there could be a search on YouTube or over the web, and then some things could pop up. So how do we play this out? Because you can't keep just monitoring and observing all the time. The children themselves, I mean, will feel very
yes, I think
uneasy.
In this point, I think that the role of parents just to religion. We should our raising and our education. We should teach them that the right things, the wrong things, so we can help them to build up their character and build up their morals and values. So, because, as you said, we are not monitoring them 24/7. So we should build something in them, an internal monitor that keeps them away of these bad things. Second thing, we could filterize or use, I think there are programs now on computers to prevent this type of sites and so on to pop up and so on. So
I wonder if there's a child that keeps inventing jokes all the time. What type of intelligence would that be?
Linguistic, because
that would be linguistic.
Yes, linguistic.
Yeah.
Yes.
And because again, the children nowadays do. I mean, it's because of the information technologies, because of the spread of mass media and other media outlets that you find kids now saying things that we used to say at
yes.
20 years.
Yes, of course. Now the kid who is...
And they say it at 10 or...
The kid who is now 10 years old,
yeah.
he has the knowledge that we had when we were 20.
Right.
Yes, or 15. Yes, because of this media explosion, information, the World Wide Web and technology, satellites, that's why this is the point here. We should teach students or give students or kids the opportunity to learn according to their preferences, their learning styles, because they are different from us and their time is different from our time, and we should understand them first before trying to guide them. Indeed. Because they already know a lot of things. That's why some kids and students find school boring. because it doesn't satisfy their in computer lessons. They just study things like symbols and so on. He knows better than that. And even in some schools, when a computer broke down, students fix it for the teacher. Yes.
Well, I guess on that beautiful note, we can't end it better here. Thank you very much, Mr. Ayman Shamroukh, educational trainer,
Thank you, sir.
Masters in International Education, American International College, USA. We would like to tell you, dear brothers and sisters, that if you want to visit Mr. Shamroukh's website, it is at www.facebook.com/Ayman, that's AYMAN .Shamroukh, that's SHAMROKH.1. So it's facebook.com/Ayman.Shamroukh.1 if you want to know more about how to discover types of intelligence in your kids and how to develop them. Jazakumullahu khairan, Mr. Shamroukh. Barakallahu feekum. Enjoyed having you here. Wish to see you again.
Thank you.
Thank
it's my
you.
pleasure, really.
Thank you, sir. And thank you, dear brothers and sisters, for watching Family Issues. Please do join us again next week, same time, inshallah. And do keep your emails flowing at familyissues@huda.tv and also at facebook.com/familyissues. Thank you for watching. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Never alone, you are never alone. Through sorrow and through grief, through happiness and peace, you are never alone. So now, as you long for your past, prepare for your future, but knowing nothing's gonna last. You see, this life is but a road, a straight and narrow path to our final abode. So travel well, O Muslim, and paradise will be your home. And always remember that you are never